Hello everyone, welcome to Course Seated. Today we will be studying DSA in C++, in which I will be teaching you all about logical operators and characters plus string. So let's begin with the first topic, characters. What are characters? Characters are basically anything which can be written within a single white space. By saying this, what I mean is it can be a space, letter, or even a symbol or a number, but it can't be set to nothing. Basically, it has to have some value. Now let's move to the code editor where I'll be showing you basic syntax plus few examples of characters. Now suppose we are here in the code editor and I write, let me first quickly write the code and then actually I've already written the code, let me just show it to you. So for character space, we can define a space, a white space inside character. The syntax is basically this, but inside this you can either create a white space or end line, or you can even define a variable, or I should say you can even define a different alphabets, and after that you can add the alphabets to a digit. Yes, you can completely do this, it is valid. But if you define it as a character, it will show you the character, as you can already see here. For number, if you define it as int, it will show you the ASCII value. What is our ASCII value? Let me just show it to you. For ASCII value stands for American Standard Code for Information Interchange. It is used to represent the numeric value of all characters. So ASCII range for A to Z equals 97 to 122. For ASCII range for A to Z equals 65 to 90. ASCII range for 0 to 9 equals 48 to 57. So what we can do here, we can actually just compare them if we want. Bool compare equals B less than B. Cout B space B end line. Next character, next number. A plus 10 compare. Why can't we do this? Let me just quickly run this. As you can see, it completely shows the correct output. This value is 0 means false because ASCII value of small b is greater than capital B. Now if I change the code to char here equals this, it will throw error because we have already done a mistake. Yes, so it is throwing two types of error. First for the missing character and empty character constant. So we can't do anything like this inside a character, even though we can do it inside the string, but not in the character. Why can we do that in string? I'll tell you later. Yeah, so we can't do this. Now suppose, now let's move to the next topic. Suppose you are asked something like, what is a string? You should say a string can be considered as a text formed by multiple characters. Let's hold the code editor for this. Let's hold on to code editor. Now suppose it is a string equals this is completely valid in a string. I will just quickly write and then tell you what it means. So what I did basically is I defined a string s1. We can this is the syntax for is defining a string. Afterwards, I took a space inside or white space inside a string. It is completely valid to do so. Then I can choose whether I want to define it as endline endl, or here I can define a different variable named endline, and I can show, as you can see, we have an endline variable. Now for a string s2, there is a word written hello in this, a text you can see, and then a string s3 has a word written inside it. Why can we do plus in a string but not in character? Because character is defined as a specific single white space, so we can't add multiple multiple, multiple characters all together. It will just give you some different output. But in string, there is no white space or any single white space criteria, so we can add multiple characters inside again and again. So I basically just added all the strings all together, and this is how it comes. Okay, so I wrote everywhere capital S. This is basically a syntax for Java. I'm so sorry for that. I just quickly change. Yeah, so now it's fixed. For C++, you have to use a small s. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you that you can't actually do end line inside this because that's a special case. End line is the only special case where you can't add the string altogether. Otherwise, everything looks perfectly fine, as you can see. The second line is nothing because we just showed you that. Let me just add a space. So you can see that here some space has been added. This is actually actually string s1 is of no use anywhere, so you can actually skip this part, but space is very useful. We can directly define space inside this, or we can do it defining a variable and then doing it again and again. That's how you actually define sometimes what is called it CPU ISA, instruction set architecture for your CPU. Okay, so that's it for no, actually let's move to the logical operators. Let me just quickly show you some examples of logical operators. You can define two variables at once if they are of the same data type by using a separation comma. So what can we see here? The answer is 0 because both the conditions have to be true, as I already told you. For and both the conditions, if both the conditions are true, then only we get the output as true. Otherwise, we get false in all the other cases. Let me just quickly reframe this. B less than equal to A less than A greater than B. What do you think the output should be? Quickly write your answer in the comments. Okay, so the answer should be 1. True, that is. Yeah, so the output was 1 indeed. So that's how you define logical operators for and, or, and, or, and not. Everything is just one and the same thing. Now suppose I do and not. B equals. What do you think the output should be? The output should be obviously 0, false. Yeah, so the output was false. You can actually check. You can keep playing with these operators until you have mastered them, and afterwards we'll be moving next to the array and other stuff, because I believe the first basics has been done. Then we have to do calculation order for data types. Yeah, we'll be doing this. Operator precedence, we can skip that, or we can actually do that. Overflow in calculations, precision errors with double float. You can actually skip this one, precision errors with double and float, because it's not required majorly in any contest or criteria or anything. C++ basics 3, conditionals, loops, and then test cases in CP, digit sum, and more. Then C++ string, getLine. Yeah, obviously. Yeah, that will be your syllabus for next few videos, I'd say. Thank you everyone for watching. This is it for today. Tomorrow we'll be doing more things on strings and characters. Tomorrow will be a quiz day. Please be prepared for that.